Rosalie was quite triggered. You should have seen him, just sitting there, biting his lips. I was seriously just so tempted to just go all out, push all his buttons, make him lash out so the Ustad can see the real Rosalie in action.
Don't fall for his trap, Sarah. Rosalie probably wants the Ustad to say that he's a patient and caring husband who's had to put up with a difficult wife.
Oh, I messed up, didn't I, Kak? Oh, now the Ustad's gonna think I'm some crazy, hot-tempered wife.
No. You didn't mess it up, okay? You'll be fine.
Save me from myself. It kinda hurts.
Hey, Natasha. Looks like you got a big fan.
Who?
Asha Tan 55. He commented on all your posts.
Is it? I haven't checked my social media account yet.
Don't wanna cry when all the lights go out.
No. These comments weren't there when I logged on before work.
This one is super random. You look super cute in this polka dot blouse. You should wear it more often.
How does he know what I'm wearing?
You do look nice wearing this. I've never seen you wear this top before though. Is it new?
I bought this a while ago, but today's the first time I'm wearing it.
This program is available on demand for free on MeWatch. Brought to you by Mitsubishi Electric StarMex Air Conditioner.
Tonight on 5. Good evening, I'm Angela Lim. The top stories on News 5. A lower number of new infections reported today with fewer tests processed at a laboratory. The lab is recalibrating its equipment after reporting 33 false positives yesterday. 3,000 built-to-order flat owners can't get keys to their new homes, with all housing board service counters closed under stricter safe distancing measures. South Korea postpones reopening schools as it tackles a new outbreak of COVID-19 infections linked to nightclubs. And non-stop queues at lunchtime as crowds hit McDonald's island-wide on its day of reopening. Fewer tests for COVID-19 being processed at a testing laboratory has meant a lower number of infections reported today. Singapore has 486 new cases, taking the national tally to 23,822. The Health Ministry says the lab is recalibrating equipment after 33 false positives were reported yesterday.
There were about 33 false positive cases in Singapore, which were due to what was called an apparatus calibration issue for one of its test kits. Could you explain to us what that is?
Currently, the diagnostic tests that are used uses a technique called polymerase chain reaction, or PCR, and it amplifies DNA. And the machine measures the rate of this amplification. And once that the signal of this amplification goes across a certain threshold, it is deemed to be positive. If it stays below that threshold, it's deemed to be negative. Now, that threshold is set by or is calibrated. And if there is an error in that calibration, you could shift this threshold either to the left or right, meaning you would either, as in this case, end up with some false positives, because your threshold was set the wrong way.
What can we do to reduce such instances, especially since false positives would take up, the limited spaces that we have in our healthcare facilities, and it will also cause a lot of anguish and worry for the patients and their families?
I understand that this is obviously from an individual perspective something very disconcerting if you're diagnosed. But the good thing is that often, even if somebody is misdiagnosed, they would very quickly find out when they were retested or that they are actually okay. I think obviously the processes that you have in place to do in the diagnostic approach, you need to have them as rigorous as possible to avoid any kind of these errors, machine errors, calibration errors happening. But the other thing is, as I mentioned, there is always the issue of people errors in terms of the people that are actually handling the samples. So the fewer steps you have, the less likely or fewer steps there are where you can introduce a potential error. What that would mean is, in the case of COVID, is to have maybe even better diagnostic than the current ones, maybe the ones where the sample doesn't need to be handled extensively, and that would then remove some of these potential errors.
Parts of the Singapore racecourse in Kranji will be converted into community recovery facilities, housing foreign workers recovering from COVID-19. Now, these are patients who remain well at the end of their 14th day of illness and who don't need further medical care. The Singapore Turf Club says the areas chosen include its multi-storey car park and car park B at the racecourse, as well as the sheltered arena at its riding centre. Works in these areas will be completed by the end of the month, and they'll be based on approved protocols and procedures by government agencies to ensure the safety and health of the workers. A medical outfit will also be appointed to work on site. Currently, the racecourse at Kranji is one of 9 CRFs. 6 others are in Singapore Armed Forces camps, including Amoy Qi, Bedok and Jurong. The others are tentage facilities at Tanjong Pagar Terminal and the OCBC Arena Hall at the Sports Hub. Authorities say they intend to make more than 10,000 bed spaces available by end June. There are currently 10,000 bed spaces at community care facilities, which house those with mild symptoms and lower risk factors. They are D Resort NTUC Chalet at Pasir Ris, halls 1 to 6 at the Singapore Expo and Changi Exhibition Centre. The beds are set to double to 20,000 by end June. Separately, about 3,000 built-to-order or BTO homeowners can't get keys to their new homes. That's because the Housing Board has closed all service counters during the circuit breaker period. And experts say the total number of BTOs launched this year could fall short of the initial government target of over 17,000.
Homeowners have been faced with delays collecting keys to their new public housing flats. Hardest hit are second-timers who had already sold their homes they were living in while waiting to move into their new built-to-order flats. In the meantime, the Housing Board says homeowners will be informed of appointments to collect their keys after the circuit breaker. The May launch for BTO flats has also been postponed to a date yet to be announced. Still, experts say this uncertainty is unlikely to make resale flats more expensive.
There's also a group of people who are kind of a borderline. That means they could buy BTO flats or they could buy resale flats. I think that even though there could be a small group of buyers who may shift from buying BTO flats to the resale flats, but it may not be enough to push up the prices of HDB resale flats.
Experts also say construction of new flats will be delayed, with travel restrictions affecting manpower and supply of construction materials. Fewer are likely to be launched this year.
If HDB were to stick with its original plan of launching 17,000 HDB flats in 2020, that will leave us with about 14,000 flats to be launched for the rest of the year. That means for the remaining 6 months. So that will actually have quite a huge stress on, say, even their internal system, as well as on if they stick with 3 launches, it means that they could, every launch, they are only left with like 2 months to actually clear all the queue before they move on to another launch again. So there could be a backlog.
Experts say the government had a higher target of new BTOs because they had expected more demand this year, with more generous housing grants and a raised income ceiling for first-time buyers.
Meanwhile, businesses reopening tomorrow must put in place safe management measures laid out by the Manpower Ministry, and those CNA spoke to say they're ready.
When Pantler reopens its doors, the bakery would already have a system of safe management measures to curb the spread of COVID-19. These include reducing physical interaction and ensuring safe distancing on its premises.
Ever since the COVID-19 started, we've already been doing whatever has been recommended, like your temperature screening, your staggered working hours, staff coming in shifts at different times. Yeah, so I don't think there's very much of a difference. Probably the biggest difference is having this safety officer and also recently implementing this safe entry.
Under new guidelines, the safety management officer must conduct checks to ensure compliance and keep records for government inspectors. National Digital Check-in System Safe Entry must also be used to record all entries and exits of employees and visitors. But for this other bakery, operational adjustments had to be made to meet the requirements.
员工方面呢，我们每天的那个值班的那个人数啊，会减到每天只有10个员工上班，就是6个厨师跟4个就是在店面的员工。主要是因为我们希望能够遵守那个1米的那个安全距离。每一天上班的人数呢，大概是12到15个不等。
Steps on safe distancing have also been taken at this barber shop.
还没有这个病毒的时候，我们的店我们会有6个人在剪头发，会有1个人在做那些counter 的工作，所以是7个人，加上我们的顾客，加起来差不多有13、14个。可是现在因为这个病毒的关系，我们只可以一天只可以有4个人做工，加上顾客是8个人，所以我们不会让这间店超过10个人。
The businesses say their premises will be cleaned regularly, and equipment shared between employees from different shifts will be disinfected. Meanwhile, businesses that won't reopen till after the circuit breaker say they aren't sitting still.
As we start to see how other businesses are going back to business, so we look and then we see how they are adapting, and then we internally will just formulate our own plans. And I don't really see much changes or any challenges in March. We were really doing markers on the floor. We were really doing all the cleaning things. We were really taking temperatures, writing down particulars of customers. So if we were to reinforce it or to improve on it, it's not like we are starting from zero.
The leather goods retailer says it will continue with work segregation and let its older staff to continue to work from home.
And it's time for a quick break that's still ahead in News 5. China reports new cases of COVID-19 in Wuhan, sparking fears of a new wave of infections at Ground Zero. Stay tuned for the details.
My Mitsubishi Electric StarMax aircon saves me energy and money. It's easy to clean and is so quiet.
trusted pain medication at work. At home, I recommend Panadol to my family as well, whenever they experience headaches or pain. Paracetamol leaves your body naturally within 24 hours. Trust Panadol. Effective on pain, gentle on you. This has been Medifax for Panadol.
Seniors are the most vulnerable. They have weaker immunity. There is a higher risk of seniors dying of COVID-19 than younger people. We must protect them. Everyone, especially our seniors, should stay at home. They should not go out unless they have to, and go home as soon as they are done. Those who have to leave their homes should go out alone. All must wear a mask when outside their homes. Seniors should avoid crowded places and not dine outside of their homes. Seniors should not go to the market. Instead, get others to help them, like buying food or groceries. They should also not gather in groups at home or outside. They should stay active through home-based activities and can exercise on their own around their immediate neighborhood. It is an offense to disobey these safe distancing measures. We must all play our part to protect our seniors. If you have an elderly family member, don't go near them if you are sick. Those living with seniors should take extra care with personal hygiene. Seniors who need help with daily tasks or someone to talk to can call the Agency for Integrated Care's hotline at 1-800-650-6060. Do the right thing. The health of all depends on each of us. Check official sources for information and do not spread rumors. Sign up for the gov.sg WhatsApp service for the latest update on COVID-19. The service is available in English, Chinese, Malay and Tamil.
Welcome back to News 5. South Korea will postpone the reopening of schools after an increase in COVID-19 infections linked to a cluster at nightclubs in Seoul. The spike in cases has led to concerns of a bigger outbreak.
The Education Ministry held a briefing late Monday saying plans to reopen high schools from Wednesday this week will be delayed for another week. And also resuming classes for the other students will be pushed back by 1 week. Now the move comes following the new cluster of infections from that Itaewon district here in Seoul. And authorities are searching for thousands of people who were at Itaewon, which is popular among foreigners and South Koreans. And especially at the 3 nightclubs and bars where that 29-year-old Korean man visited. Now, Seoul's mayor says about 5,500 of them were at the 3 nightclubs that night, but so far they've only been able to get in touch with slightly more than 2,000 of them. Now, observers say that they could be reluctant to come forward because some of the nightclubs and bars were popular among the lesbian and gay community. Now, aware of this, the mayor Park Won-soon is urging all of them to come forward, promising to keep their identity a secret if they want.
신분 노출에 우려가 있어서 망설이는 분들이 있는 것으로 파악됩니다. 그러나 그것에 대해서는 전혀 걱정하실 필요가 없습니다. 신변 안전을 담보하기 위해서 서울시에서는 선제적으로 익명검사 제도를 도입하겠습니다.
Now, most of the newly confirmed cases from this cluster are in their 20s, and among the 86 new cases, 36% of them had no symptoms, raising fears that many young South Koreans like them were going around the country and spreading this disease. Now, this new cluster of infections come days after South Korea started easing social distancing rules and introduced everyday distancing, allowing people to resume their daily activities, but with caution. Now, with this new cluster of infections, Seoul and other cities are advising nightclubs and bars not to allow too many people to gather, and also in places like restaurants. Now, authorities say the most urgent issue is to find everyone who were at the nightclubs that night and have them tested for coronavirus. Lim Ann Qi, CNA, Seoul.
China's Wuhan city has reported its first cluster of infections nearly a month after a lockdown was lifted. 5 new cases were confirmed at ground zero of the outbreak. All were living in the same residential compound and previously classified as asymptomatic. It's triggered fears of a fresh wave of infections in Wuhan, just as stringent movement controls were being relaxed. In the northeastern province of Jilin, a lockdown has been reimposed on Shulan city. Concerns are growing over a cluster of infections there. It's the only place in China currently marked as high risk. The entire Jilin province has also raised its emergency alert up to the highest level, but authorities maintain that the outbreak in mainland China is under control. China now has nearly 83,000 infections and more than 4,600 COVID-19 deaths. No new deaths have been reported nationwide for nearly a month. A steady stream of children were dropped off today at Vietnam's kindergartens and primary schools. They have reopened after a months-long closure. Staff were at entrances to take temperatures and sanitize hands. Safe distancing measures were also enforced during class. The school's reopening is Vietnam's latest step in lifting COVID-19 curbs. It has just 288 infections and no deaths. There's also been no community infections for nearly a month. Sri Lanka is also easing restrictions after a nearly 2-month lockdown. Some businesses have been allowed to reopen, but with a limited number of employees. Schools, restaurants and entertainment outlets remain shut. Sri Lanka has recorded 9 deaths and some 860 infections so far. The pandemic has devastated key sectors of the economy, including tourism and exports. Last week, state employees were asked to donate their May salary to the government to help reduce the budget deficit. And coming up on News 5, police investigate the murder of a man found at Pongal Field. Details in just a bit.
Weather report brought to you by Mitsubishi Electric.
As Singapore battles COVID-19, there are those who work tirelessly and quietly go the extra mile. From the hawker who pledged free meals to the elderly, to the cleaners keeping our estates clean. These are our invisible heroes. Share your invisible hero with us. Let us know why we should appreciate them more. Visit sginvisibleheroes.com. Let's celebrate our heroes doing their part to keep Singapore going.
Painful, inflamed sore throat? Reach for Difflam lozenges. They relieve the pain and swelling and help fight throat infection. Don't let a sore throat spoil your day. Reach for Difflam anti-inflammatory antibacterial lozenges.
An ordinary pen. In the hands of a teacher, it can be more. Every line it draws, every mark it makes, every grade it gives is merely a recognition of effort and not definition of a person's worth.
10-0.
Every child can achieve when there's a teacher who believes.
You're watching News 5. Police suspect murder after the death of a 38-year-old man who was found injured at Pongal Field. Police received a call at about 11 o'clock last night asking for help. A man found injured at the site was sent to Sengkang General Hospital. He later died from his injuries. Photos online showed police at the scene. A Facebook user who claimed he was assisting with investigations said there was blood everywhere when he went to check on someone's cry for help. Police say investigations are ongoing and anyone with information should call them. A 64-year-old Singaporean man has been charged with breaching his stay-home notice 5 times. Teo Se Leong returned from Indonesia on 20th March. On 4 occasions, he allegedly spent about an hour around his neighborhood for non-permitted purposes. Teo was caught on the 5th occasion on 29th March. Authorities had checked on him at his home and he was not there. He's accused of buying lunch and eating at an open area nearby that day. Teo faces 5 charges and intends to plead guilty when he returns to court on 20th May. Each charge carries a maximum fine of $10,000 and a maximum jail term of 6 months. Fraudulent listings of health products on e-commerce platforms claiming to detect, prevent, and even get rid of COVID-19, these can leave a large hole in your pockets and may even harm you.
The Health Sciences Authority stresses that people should not buy into the hype of these health products.
There are many risks. At best, it doesn't work. At worst, patients can get adverse effects. So we have seen the herbal supplements, example, adulterated, that means added with certain potent ingredients like steroids, potent painkillers, and our patients have run into problems with Cushing syndrome, which is the serious adverse reactions.
Over 1,700 of these online listings were taken down by HSA last week.
So for such products, they cannot be advertising for specific claims like coronavirus, COVID-19, because these claims may mistakenly mislead patients into or consumers into buying them, thinking that they can be protected from these virus.
The people who list these products with untrue claims are capitalizing on this pandemic to make money.
So in a sense, again, they're banking on some of the consumer vulnerabilities and perceptions, and then they're trying to really use this situation to kind of make the most out of it. When we, for example, had H1N1 outbreaks or SARS outbreaks, there were quite a few companies that engaged in similar practices of trying to profit from this challenging situation. So it's not something new.
There are, however, people who still buy these products even when it is clear they're not supposed to.
There's a lot of fear and anxiety going around. Some people display that fear a lot more, and some people have different coping mechanisms. One of the coping mechanisms is try to regain the locus of control. So buying these items, whether they are true or false, whether they work or otherwise, it's a way for people to regain a sense of control.
Students can start applying to secondary schools and junior colleges based on their talents in areas like sports or the arts from tomorrow under the direct school admission exercise. They'll be going through selection processes online due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Education Ministry says no physical trials or face-to-face interviews will be held so as to protect students and staff. Instead, all interviews for shortlisted candidates will be done virtually, such as by using video conferencing tools. These may involve simple tasks such as doing sketches or performances. The interviews will be conducted at the applicant schools to avoid mingling of students across different schools. But one school is concerned there may be limitations when assessing students for activities like team sports, though it can still ask them to demonstrate specific techniques like dribbling.
In terms of individual skills for this sport, we are able to do it through their performance tasks. In terms of their ability to work in teams, that's where the interviews will come in. We may also get inputs from their primary schools. So these are the ways that we will try to do our best to overcome the current situation.
146 secondary schools and 20 junior colleges are participating in the DSA exercise. Now, from stargazing to virtual garden tours, some attractions are now online, and they're keeping children entertained, much to the relief of parents, as the mid-year school holidays come early this year.
6 and 8-year-old Ruel and Anneli Teo are crossing a milestone as young scientists. Shall we? Making their own clouds. Following the Science Centre's experiments online, they're even extracting iron from cereal. The Science Centre has seen close to 40,000 views for these experiments, and thousands are also tuning in to see the stars from home.
It is, in some sense, better because with a virtual platform, you literally transcend time and space. You can go into all houses, all families, even overseas.
Another attraction looking to bring a slice of nature into homes. Horticulturalists at Gardens by the Bay typically care for plants behind the scenes. Now, they're front and center, taking viewers around the gardens.
The sunbird will perch on this part of the plant to pollinate the flower.
With videos getting thousands of hits.
There may be visitors who have actually been to the gardens, but they may not know some of this interesting information about plants. So there are some kids-friendly kind of activities, such as the e-books, as well as some craft-related activities. We have videos on Facebook showing the parents how to actually teach the kids to do up terrariums or even container gardens.
Another school holiday hotspot has seen a surge in online traffic. Offering activities like storytelling with a twist, it's attracted close to 90,000 views.
Actually, it's a Singaporean classic. Would you like to read it with me?
Joining in is local artist Benjamin King.
I need your help to act out some of the roles and make some of the sounds that make up this story.
Viewers can submit entries online. With swimmer Joseph Schooling and actor Joanne Pei showing them how it's done.
One of the things that we thought we could be strong in is to provide an opportunity for the parent and child to bond over a common activity.
Families can play the role of curators at home, recreating artifacts at the museum. For many of these attractions, nothing beats the experience of visiting in person. But sparking curiosity and interest online now might just pay off when doors reopen.
Queues, crowds, and scrambles online were the order of the day as most McDonald's outlets reopened after a 3-week pause. The fast food chain had to suspend operations longer than originally planned after 7 employees tested positive for COVID-19.
Singaporeans waiting to sink their teeth into their favorite burger finally got their fix on Monday. CNA observed snaking lines at outlets that we visited at lunchtime in Boon Lay, Toa Payoh, and Kallang. Drive-thrus were no exception either.
I've been craving for that for quite a while, so yeah, I'm happy to have my cheeseburger again.
I was really hoping it wasn't gonna open at the end of the circuit breaker. I'm very happy it opened. I finally get to get my favorite buttermilk chicken.
The long queues meant waiting times of about 45 minutes, but it was easy to stomach for most customers who felt at ease with strict safe distancing measures put in place to prevent overcrowding.
Everyone is very spread out, so there's no contact with each other. And then as for the queuing outdoor, right, they have been limiting to about 10 person each time. So let's say if you were to exceed the 10% mark, they'll ask you to come back another time.
McDonald's had also earlier cautioned that due to circuit breaker rules, its restaurants would have fewer crew members, so food preparation might take longer than usual. The craving was strong not just in-store, but online as well. The Mac delivery website had to bring forward its last order by an hour and a half because of what it called overwhelming support.
We tried to get it online and the queue is like 1 hour or 2 hours. So I told my kids, Mommy will queue for you, just for the kids.
Those lucky enough to score burger bragging rights shared their spoils on social media. The fast food chain first suspended operations on April 19th. Despite reopening, the firm says it will not operate 24 hours for the duration of the circuit breaker.
And that's the end of News 5. Thank you so much for your company, and do join us again tomorrow. Good night.
This program is available on demand for free on MeWatch.
Tonight on 5.
Parental guidance is advised for the following program.